This week, the HPT crowns a champion from the Route 66 Casino Hotel in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Last week, we began our final table with a star-studded cast of talented players and accomplished pros, all looking to be the last player standing. This week, the road to the championship continues with 7 players left. Among them is one of the game's top pros, Alan "Chainsaw" Kessler, and a man named Casino who is looking to join the elite group of players with multiple championships and retake the all-time money leader standing from Greg "Fossilman" Raymer. History, money, and prestige is on the line as we watch and wait for our next HPT champion.
This is the HPT.
Sit right down, put on your poker face, you with the big dogs now. Better bring your best game, talk trash all you want. To me it's all the same, you won't leave with much when you come in second place. And I'm the one with the stack showing 7 to the jack. Gonna cry to your mama cause I'm sending you back. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. Last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand.
Hello and welcome again to the HPT, where this week we crown a champion from Route 66 Casino Hotel in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm Fred Bevel. By my side is poker professional Maria Ho. And Maria, we started with 9 players as always at this final table. This week we continue with 7, and this final table has lived up to all the hype it's gotten.
I'm dubbing this final table the revenge of the short stack. Almost every time a player has faced elimination, the deck has delivered the miracle card they needed to keep them alive. When we started, 4 of the final 9 had HPT final table experience, and all 4 of those players are still in the hunt. Among them is Craig Casino. Craig is a past HPT champion from our Colorado event and is looking to become only the 3rd multi-champion in HPT history. But for Craig to make even more HPT history than he already has, he'll have to best one of the fiercest final tables I can remember, and I've seen them all. Pro player Alan Kessler and amateurs Cruz Baca and John Mahalik are the other players making their second trip to an HPT final table. But so far, the newsmaker at this final table is our chip leader, Roger Martin. Roger could care less about the resumes and statistics of his opponents, and so far he's been playing a great game and keeping the Sharks at bay. Let's take a look and see how much money is on the line, get everybody updated on the chip counts, and get right back to this final table. Our newest HPT champion from this event will be taking home just over $39,000, and 7th place right now will be guaranteed $5,862. Not a bad payday. Most of these players are in on just a qualifier buy-in, some of them for under $300. Here is the updated chip count. Roger Martin is still holding steady onto that top spot with $867,000 in chips. Norman's following close behind though, and we have John Mahalik back on the short stack with 12 big blinds. Chris Wagner not doing much better with only 18 big blinds. Both those guys looking to make a play as blinds continue at 6 and 12,000 with a 1,000 chip ante. Alan Kessler's turn to act in this hand. He's got my favorite hand, King Queen. He's going to open the pot to 28,000. Over to Cruz Baca.
28,000 chips. 28.
Over to Norman now. Pocket 10s.
I think given the fact that Alan's fairly tight and he's raising from early position, I would just call if I were Norm.
Norm takes your advice. He does make the call. And Craig Casino is going to just shove them all in with ace-9.
Not a fan of this play, I gotta tell you. Alan's raising from early position. He's fairly tight pre-flop. Norm just flatted his raise, and with a 10 big blind shove, he has no fold equity against 2 players. One of them, at least, is bound to call him.
226. 226. Action is on.
Well, it won't be Alan Kessler, but Maria, I'll double or nothing on the 2 drinks you owe me that Norm will do it.
Norm's gonna definitely call with 10s, and Craig's gonna see that he needs a lot of help. He needs to hit an ace in order to survive.
We were racing. Pocket 10s, 10 of hearts, 10 of spades.
King, queen suited.
For pocket 10s, 10 of hearts, 10 of spades.
Craig goes to his good luck charm, the picture of his beautiful grandkids that's with him on the rail throughout his play.
The flop is 9-6-6. Craig does pair one of his cards, but not the one he was hoping for, as he is still behind Norm's 10s.
Oh, 9 of spades and 2 6s. improving Mr. Casino's hand.
Craig stands in front of his chair just in case the card he needs doesn't come, and the turn brings an 8 of clubs. No help to Craig.
Norm is still ahead with his 10s. Craig is looking for an ace or another 9 on the river in order to stay alive and compete at this final table.
Get it straight with that.
Ace or 9? Ace or a 9. Ace or
It
9.
always comes down to the river card. Here it is. The river is an ace, and just like that, Craig goes from out the door to a double up.
This final table has definitely been interesting. The best hand just doesn't seem to be holding up.
I think the worst thing you can do is go all in with the best hand right now. More poker from Albuquerque, New Mexico at the Route 66 Casino when we come back.
It's been a great week here in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the Route 66 Casino Hotel. It's time to get back to final table action. Maria and Fred, will send it over to you.
Thanks, James. And Roger here still running away with that chip lead. He's over $1 million now. Craig Casino's in the second spot, but pretty far behind Roger. And our short stack right now is John Mahalik with just 6 big blinds.
A lot of poker left to be played, and the way this table is going, who knows who's going to win this thing. Blinds are going up to 8 and 16,000 with a 2,000 chip ante. Action starts with Cruz Baca. He quickly folds. Over to Norman now. Apparently hoodies are still cool. Craig Casino folds. Over to Chris Wagner. He's going to get out of the way. And finally we got a hand. It's Ace-Jack for John Mahalik. He's going to go all in.
Standard all-in hand from the button with his stack. Roger looks down at Queen 8. Got a little bit in there. And John really doesn't have all that much, so he may call here. Nope, he's going to let Alan do the dirty work. Alan's pretty much priced in the call no matter what he has.
What's the count? Same predicament from before here. This is where it's spot again.
Alan's going to get an exact count to call here, just to make sure the math is right.
58.
Yeah, he doesn't want to, but he's going to. He calls the 78,000. They're going to table the hands, and Alan's going to see he is behind. I don't think that's a surprise to him, but he does have 2 live cards.
You see John at risk. Shows the ace of spades, the jack of
I feel like
clubs.
John feels really comfortable seeing everything that's played out here at the final table. He's like, yep, Shorty's going to double up.
The flop is 10, King, 10. Both players missed this flop.
But John is still ahead with ace high. Alan's looking for an 8 or a 7.
Just got one more, yeah.
The turn is a king of spades.
And Alan is now drawing dead to a chop, so John's at least going to get his chips back.
The river is a 4 of clubs, and just like that, John is going to double up. Still the short stack, though, only going to have 210,000 with him after the double up. And again, for Alan, just a flesh wound, still has plenty of chips.
You get 2,000 back.
But right now, everybody at this final table eyeing Roger Martin and trying to figure out a way to beat that guy.
Thanks.
Blinds are still at 8 and 16,000 with a 2,000 chip ante. Roger starts this hand. He folds. Behind him, Alan Kessler folds. Here is Cruz Baca.
He folds the Jack 9 offsuit. And now Norman's going to move all in with 10-7 off.
Craig Casino wakes up with ace 10. I got to think this is a pretty easy call. Craig's eyeing the chips.
Should be a snap call here. I don't really see what he's thinking about. Guess he just wants to make sure.
123.
Craig makes the expected call.
Good call.
Now we're over to Chris Wagner. He's going to fold. So we are officially heads up here. Norman's life at risk, and Norman is in a bad way, Maria.
Norman's going to need a 7 in order to survive.
Alan just said it best, that the way things are going, Norman is going to hit probably quad 7s.
In the 8th seat, Norm shows 10 of clubs, 7 of hearts. 10-7 off. Going up against Mr.
Norm has got his messenger bag over his shoulder. Here comes the flop. It is Queen, Queen 8.
That's not going to improve Norm's hand at all. He's still going to look for that 7 on the turn or the river.
9 would be interesting. 9 would be a good card.
7 from him. Ace in the lead for Craig right now.
The turn is a 10.
And that gives Norm some chop outs. If a queen or a 10 comes on the river, they will chop with the same full house.
Queen or a 10 or a
Craig hoping for a blank on the river, and that's exactly what he gets. The 5 of hearts does nothing, and Norman Michalik is going to be leaving us in 7th place. The young gun had some traction earlier, and then momentum kind of left him. Let's hear what he has to say about the play today.
I'm obviously disappointed, but I played my best, and it's just not my day. Once the short stacks kept doubling, stacks got shallower, and it just became like more luck variant.
All right, we are now 6-handed. Blinds are 8 and 16,000 with a 2,000 chip ante. Maria's 6-handed play. Would this be considered a short-handed table officially now?
6-handed is definitely considered short-handed. And look, ace-king for John, and he's going to take this opportunity to move all his chips in.
And right behind him is Roger Martin. He wakes up with pocket 10s.
And he's going to call the 184,000. Allen folds.
Both these players table their hands. John is going to see he's behind, but he's got the best drawing hand in the game. He just needs to hit it.
I don't know. That's amazing. King of hearts. He's behind.
John Michalik's tournament life on the line. The flop comes 5, 3, 10, and wow, top set for Roger.
And John is looking for some runner outs to the Broadway straight or the wheel. And if he doesn't, he's going to be eliminated in 6th place.
The turn is a queen of diamonds. That's one of the outs John needs.
Queen of diamonds, ladies.
He's looking for a jack on the river now.
What a sweat. He's a set of 10s, still in the lead.
Wouldn't surprise anyone.
If the jack comes here.
John Michalik hoping for a miracle on the river. It does not come with the 8 of clubs, and that is going to do it. John, one of 4 players coming to this final table with HPT final table experience. Let's hear his parting words.
Thank you. In Belterra, I had 10s against ace-king all in and lost to ace-king to a boat. And now I have ace-king with 10s and lose to a set. So it's kind of brutal, to be honest with you.
Well, I certainly hope the couch you're sitting on has a seatbelt installed, because this final table is fast and furious. We'll get right back to it right after this. Thanks for coming back to the HPT. She's Maria Ho. I'm Fred Bevel. James Larson is on the floor. Let's check the updated chip count and get right back to the action.
And as you can see, we're 5-handed now. Roger Martin still holding on to that chip lead with 1.2 million. Craig Casino has built up his stack to 700,000. And on the short stack, we have Chris Wagner and Alan Kessler, both under 11 big blinds.
Alan Kessler, no stranger to the short stack. Blinds are continuing at 8 and 16,000 with a 2K ante. And now Craig Casino wakes up with pocket queens.
And I think there was a little bit of metagame going on with him showing. I think now it's getting 5-handed. The pressure is being heightened a little bit. Everybody's getting closer to becoming that champion. And Craig just wants to get inside their heads by showing him a bluff.
All right, Maria, we're close friends. Do me a favor, save me a trip to Google. Explain metagame to everybody.
Well, metagame could broadly be defined as the game within the game. It's about what you think your opponent is thinking, about what you're thinking. So it's kind of about being on the next level.
Okay, well, thanks for explaining that. It's perfectly clear now.
Check that out, Rick. Where'd he go out on?
Cruz Baca all in is the bet with ace queen.
He's going to get snapped off by Craig here, I think, and Cruz is going to get some bad news. He's in bad shape.
Craig does make the quick call, and Cruz is going to see he's got 1 live card in the ace. Maybe some hearts come to help him out, but right now Craig Casino has a pretty sizable lead statistically in this hand.
Either hearts or an ace.
Going up.
Big swing hand here, Maria. 542,000 in chips in the pot.
I think Craig's hoping he could deliver this knockout, make it 4-handed. And the flop is ace 4-10, putting Cruz ahead with a pair of aces. And now Craig needs running spades or the last queen in the deck to win, possibly some chop outs on the turn.
Catch a queen on the river.
of the short stack and cruise.
Craig hoping for something on the turn to give him a sweat. The turn is a deuce of clubs. That is no help at all. Craig Casino is going to need the case queen on the river, or he is going to double up Cruz Baca and lose a pile of chips.
Really, really weird.
And avoid elimination. Let's go ahead and see.
And the river is a jack. It's not going to be what he needed, and Cruz is going to double up.
The river. So Cruz's hand is pulled up. And yet again, ladies and gentlemen.
Action is on Roger. He's going to fold. Alan folds right behind him. Cruz looks down at fours. I imagine he's going to open this hand on the button.
Action's on Cruz now.
Cruz is going to make it 42,000 to go on the button.
Craig Casino wakes up with ace-10 of diamonds. He might want a little revenge off the Baca. There you go. I just turned Cruz Baca's name into a noun. It's now the Baca.
And I think Craig's thinking about 3-betting, and he does indeed make it 100,000 to go.
And that's going to get rid of Chris Wagner. Action back to Cruz. And he is going to make the call. So here we go. Pocket fours against ace-10.
Two players. Cruz, can I see your cards when you get a second? Sure.
Both players are aggressive. Both players a little on the stubborn side when it comes to letting go of their hand.
Two players. All right, let's go ahead and see.
Here comes the flop. It is, wow, 4, king, 4. Cruz has just flopped quads.
And basically that means Craig's got no shot to win this pot right now.
Not a prayer. And he's betting. It's 50,000 to Cruz, and ho-hum, I'll just call.
I think it's a pretty safe play anytime you flop quads that you're just going to slow play it.
The turn is a 3 of clubs. Let's hope that slows Craig down.
3 of clubs.
It does. He's going to check.
Casino checks.
The thing is, this board is pretty dry, so unless Craig thinks Cruz was floating him on the flop with nothing, he can't be too comfortable that ace-high is the best hand.
But that does not stop Craig from keeping the pressure on Cruz here. He makes it 120,000 to go. Of course, Cruz sitting on quads. He's loving this, and he's just going to go all in, and that is going to get Craig to fold, no doubt about it.
I don't think Craig is planning to hero him off here with ace-high.
So you're pulling 70.
He does not. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this hand, Maria. Should he have just called the turn and tried to get value on the river? Or maybe if he put Craig on a king, he figured he'd have gotten paid.
I think it just depends on what he thinks Craig has. I think the fact that Craig check raised him on the turn says that Craig should have a big hand there, and I think Cruz was just hoping he would get called by a worse hand, but unfortunately Craig just had nothing and wasn't able to give him a full double up there.
Part of that meta game you were just talking about. Now I get it. I don't have to Google it anymore. Action in this hand is now on Alan Kessler. He folds back over to Cruz Baca. He's going to fold. Craig Casino.
Not relenting, though. He is going to play his hand from the small blind, and he's going to get a little tricky just limping in with ace-jack. And Chris behind him moves all in with ace-6 of diamonds, and Craig happily calls.
Here's the way the cards
This worked out great for Craig. I think that was his plan the whole time. Just limp in, hope Chris gets a little out of line on the big blind. Makes the easy call here. He just has to fade the 6 or some diamonds, and he's going to move up the money ladder by eliminating Chris Wagner.
What do you think?
Cards are right, Aaron.
Just the odds. We'll go with the odds.
The chips are reconciled. The cards are in place. Here comes the flop.
The flop is 6, Jack, King. They both improved, but Craig is still ahead with a pair of jacks to Chris's pair of 6s. Chris is going to need running diamonds or another 6 in order to double up here.
It's got to be a diamond on the turn, though.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh, sure. It can't be easy.
The ace-jack for Craig.
The turn is an 8 of hearts. No help for Chris Wagner. Right now, Craig Casino has a stranglehold on this hand. As you can see in the statistics, he's 95% to win. And the river is a 5. No help for Chris, and he is going to have to say goodbye to us in 5th place and take home a very hefty payday.
Appreciate it. Well, I thought I played okay. I made a couple of missteps early on, but overall, I think I played okay. I got card dead towards the end. Wouldn't even the stuff I couldn't play didn't hit the flop. But I had a great time, and I'm glad I came, and you know, good luck to everybody else.
All right, folks, well, things are really heating up because we are now down to our final 4 players. And after this quick commercial break, we will resume final table action. You're watching the HPT. Welcome back to the HPT here in beautiful Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the Route 66 Casino Hotel. 4 players remain. Let's head back to the final table and pick up the action.
Roger has done a pretty good job of holding on to that chip lead throughout. You see he has over 1 million in chips. Cruz Baca has now moved into the second spot, and Alan Kessler is our short stack with 163,000.
Alan Kessler, only 8 big blinds left in that stack. His blinds are going up. They're now 10 and 20,000 with a 3,000 chip ante. And action will start with Craig Casino. He's going to open the pot to 45,000 with a measly hand like pocket aces. You go broke playing those rags.
Seriously, he needs to stick to that 7-3.
Roger is going to fold. We're now over to Alan Kessler. 9-3, probably not good enough for Alan to play. Over to Cruz Baca now with Queen Jack of Diamonds. I think he's going to give Craig some action.
Cruz is going to go ahead and call from the big blind. Heads up to the flop.
Cruz loves himself a big blind. These two know each other pretty well at a poker table. Here comes the flop. It is 7-6 queen.
Cruz has flopped top pair here, but unfortunately that's still not going to be enough as Craig has an overpair to the board. Cruz checks, as does Craig. Craig is trying to trap Cruz here, but ooh, that Jack of Hearts comes off on the turn, and now Cruz pulls ahead.
You know, Maria, aces are great because they're aces. The bad thing about aces is it's just one pair. I don't know if it's wise to slow play a pair.
And I really hope that Craig's plan here is just to call the bet and not to do anything like raise. That's not a great turn card. And if Cruz is bluffing, then let him bluff.
Craig has a different plan. He's going to jack it up to 250,000.
Well, Cruz has to be happy about seeing that raise with top 2 pair. Let's see if he's going to fast play and put Craig to the test here.
He does indeed, and let's see if Craig can get away from pocket aces. He cannot. He makes the call. He shows the big aces, and look at that as Cruz tables top 2. Craig's in a bad way now. He needs a 7 or a 6 or an ace on the river.
Ace, 6, or 7 twice.
Jack of Diamonds.
And the river card is a king of spades. That is no help to Craig Casino. And the former HPT champion from Colorado is going to leave his 3rd final table on the HPT in 4th place. Congratulations, my friend.
Well, I was hoping he was slow playing me with his queen, and I was slow playing him back, and I took a chance there. And although even if I had bet there, he was going to call whatever I bet anyway with top pair. So he played the hand well. I think I played the hand well. And just didn't work out. It was a great final table, though. There was a lot of good players, a lot of great players, and just had a lot of fun at the table.
I have no doubts we will be seeing Craig Casino on the HPT again very soon, and odds of him making a final table pretty doggone good. Blinds are still 10 and 20,000 with a 3,000 chip ante. 3-handed, the button acts first. That was Alan Kessler. He folds, and look at all the chips in front of Cruz Baca right now. He's going to open the pot to 40,000 with Queen 9.
And Roger wakes up with a huge hand, 3-handed, jacks here, and he's just going to call him.
Roger trying to lay a little trap, I think. Here comes the flop. It is 9 King Deuce Rainbow.
And Cruz is going to go ahead and make a C bet after pairing his 9, and he makes it 55,000.
And now we go back to Roger Martin from Grand Junction, Colorado. Just going to flat call here.
Roger should feel pretty comfortable about having jacks in this spot.
The turn is a 6 of hearts. Cruz does not improve. Roger's still way ahead with the pocket jacks. He's going to fire 50,000.
Roger's bet sizing is just once again too small. He could be extracting a lot more value. I don't see Cruz folding middle pair.
The river brings a 9 of hearts, and just like that, Cruz pulls ahead.
action will start with the Cruz.
Cruz just cracked the aces of Craig Casino, and now he's also rivered a better hand against Rogers Jacks.
Cruz puts out a 200,000 chip bet. And Roger just can't help himself. He's going to call him off with pocket jacks, and he is going to see the bad news. Maria, we have seen a lot of rivers at this final table.
Definitely been a couple of river rats today, and Cruz is just on a heater.
Well, it's a good time to go on a heater. You're shorthanded at the final table, and suddenly the deck starts hitting you in the face. There's worse problems to have in this world.
Absolutely.
Good thing I didn't go all in that time.
Blinds continuing at 10 and 20,000 with a 3,000 chip ante. Action will start with Roger Martin. He folds over to Alan Kessler in the small blind.
And he's going to move his short stack all in with 7-6. Hoping that Cruz doesn't have a hand he could call him with, but Cruz looks down at ace-8 and instantly calls.
Call's been made.
Right call by Cruz, in my opinion. He is ahead. Alan, 2 live cards, though.
Alan's going to need help in the form of a 7 or a 6.
8 of spades, 2 overcards for Cruz. Ace and 8. Ace of diamonds.
Cruz on the rail there with Benji Benavidez. He was at the final table here at Route 66 last time we visited. And just a few spots down from Cruz is Molly Mossy.
There's been a lot
Cruz
of
eliminated her on our cruise ship at our season opener.
The flop is deuce, deuce, 5. Cruz is still ahead with ace high.
Deuce of hearts.
Alan hoping to find a 7 or a 6 or perhaps some running cards to help him out with a straight.
The ace-8 still in the lead. Alan has 2 live cards. Running cards to make it straight. Let's go ahead and see. The turn card.
The turn is the king of clubs. No help to either player. Ace high still good for Cruz.
A 7 or a 6 is the only thing that's going to save Alan Kessler's life at this final table. Otherwise, he will be eliminated in 3rd place. Alan trying to work some mojo as we go to the river. The river brings an ace of hearts, and that is going to do it for the chainsaw. Last time we saw Alan at our final table was in Iowa, where he took 9th place. Here he leaves us in 3rd place.
My last two HPT events, they were both spur-of-the-moment decisions. I came and I made both final tables, so I can't complain about that. Probably in the running for Player of the Year with the 3rd place and the 9th place. So I may have to play a lot more of these events coming up.
Well, this final table is already turning into one that I think people are going to remember for a long, long time. We'll get right back to the action here at Route 66 Casino Hotel right after this. Welcome back to the HPT. She's Maria Ho. I'm Fred Bevel. Our James Larson is down at the final table. Let's check the updated chip counts and get right back to the action.
And as you can see, Cruz with a massive chip lead against Roger, with Cruz's 2.2 million to Roger's 309,000.
114 big blinds versus 15 big blinds. Maria, I've been at every HPT final table. I can't remember such a lopsided chip lead like this. Blinds are still 10 and 20,000 with a 3,000 chip ante. The recently eliminated Craig Casino sits on the rail.
Roger's going to have to pick his spot wisely, and I don't think 5 deuce is good enough for a raise with his stack size. I think you could fold a few buttons heads up, and that would be one of the hands you fold with.
Cruz makes the call with Queen Jack offsuit. Our first flop heads up is ace, ace, deuce with 2 diamonds.
Well, Roger's connected with the flop. He has aces and deuces. Cruz just has Queen Jack high, and he checks it over to Roger.
Roger says no checking. I'm going to make it 60,000. And Cruz probably doesn't have Roger on an ace. Thinks he still has some live cards with a Queen Jack and makes the call.
The turn is the 8 of diamonds.
That's a scary turn card. Roger goes all in after Cruz checks, and now 206,000 is the decision for Cruz. He does hold the Queen of Diamonds.
And I think Cruz is just trying to decide if Queen Jack could possibly be good here, or if he's going to need to hit a diamond if he decides to make this call.
Well, Roger started this heads-up match, as we just pointed out, with only 14 big blinds, so Cruz does have some room to, for lack of a better term, make a mistake and still survive it, and this might be the mistake. He does call the all-in here.
deuce of hearts.
And Cruz is going to see that even though Roger's ahead right now, Cruz has a lot of outs to win this pot. A diamond, a queen, a jack, or an 8 can actually knock out Roger.
The river is a 10 of hearts, not the card Cruz needed. And just like that, Roger is going to double up to just under 620,000 in chips. You know, Maria, when you start a heads-up match with such a dominating chip lead, do you feel a little more loosey-goosey? Figure you can afford at least one double up to your opponent?
I think so. I think sometimes players get a little ahead of themselves and start getting in this mindset that they have the door pretty much closed on this heads-up match. And I think they just need to remember to keep playing smart and keep making the right decisions.
Well, Cruz was gambling a little bit, but it was a smart gamble in my opinion with all the outs that he had there and his gargantuan chip lead. I don't mind the gamble there by Cruz.
Cruz is going to go ahead and raise here with 9-7 offsuit, and Roger's going to call.
All right, Gary, let's go ahead and see the flop.
The flop is Queen 6 King with 2 hearts.
Roger has hit bottom pair.
Both players checking the Queen 6 King flop.
The turn brings the 9 of diamonds.
And now Cruz has turned a better hand, pairing his 9.
Roger's going to fire out, makes it 50,000 to go.
That is a bet of 50,000.
Cruz is going to oblige and make the call.
I really don't like Roger's bet into Cruz. I think check calling's a better option, but we all know how Roger likes to bet.
The river is a queen of spades. No help for either player. Cruz has the best hand with queens and 9s, and he makes the call. Both players show their hands. And Cruz is going to table the winner and scoop 306,000 in that pot. Blinds are still 10 and 20,000 with a 3,000 chip ante.
Cruz looks down at ace-5 off.
Cruz is going to open, makes it 80,000 with ace-5.
Cruz decides to open to 4x the big blind. That's a little big for heads-up play. I'm a big fan of the min-raise heads-up.
Roger Martin peels back ace-jack. He is definitely not going anywhere.
Think he has plans to re-raise Cruz here. Decides to go all in, and Cruz calls him instantaneously, probably thinking he has the best hand, but Roger has the jack kicker to go with his ace.
Boy, it seems like Cruz is in such a hurry to end this match that he's kind of misstepping here. He's going to need to get lucky, or he's going to double up Roger twice in 3 hands.
Well, Roger did only have about 15 big blinds, and when Cruz makes it 80,000, he's definitely priced in to call 219 more.
5 of spades. We know who's in the lead here. It's Roger with his ace-jack.
Roger, happy that he's got the best hand right now.
Roger trying to double up.
Needs to fade a few cards here. The flop is 4-8 jack. So far, so good for Roger, poised for his second double up here, heads up.
Cruz is looking for runner-runner outs to the wheel or running 5s.
Cruz looking for running cards for a straight. Go ahead and see
the turn is a queen of hearts, and that is going to end this hand for Cruz Baca. Get the chips ready, Cruz. You've just doubled up Roger Martin once more. Another 604,000 going into that stack.
And now Roger's stack is definitely going to be a threat, as he has about 30 big blinds.
It's getting hot up in here.
This has turned into one of our favorite tour stops all year long here in Albuquerque, New Mexico in the Route 66 Casino. Time to step aside for a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back. Don't go too far. You're watching the HPT. Welcome back, everybody, here to the HPT, coming to you from Albuquerque, New Mexico in the Route 66 Casino Hotel. It's time to get back to the final table poker action.
And after that series of hands, you can see that Roger has really closed the gap on this heads-up match, as Cruz Baca only has 1.5 million to Roger's 1 million.
Roger making an epic comeback. Last time we checked in, he only had 15 bigs. Now he has 43 bigs. Blinds are going up. They're now 12 and 24,000 with a 3,000 chip ante.
We love the webcast tonight.
Action starts on Cruz Baca. He's going to open it to 72,000 with suited ace-9.
And especially now that they're both pretty deep, I really would like to see Cruz make his open sizing smaller than that because it's really too many chips to be putting in the middle pre-flop.
Roger is going to make the call to see a flop with 10-8 offsuit. Yeah, if the bigger bets aren't getting your opponent to fold pre-flop, what's the point of making the bigger bets, right?
Absolutely. It's about achieving the same goal with the least amount of risk to your chip stack. So if you could see the same result with raising 2x as you can with raising 3 or 4x, then why not do so?
The flop delivered 8-3-6 with a couple of clubs. Roger bet 80. Cruz quickly goes all in behind him, and now Roger has a decision to make, Maria. Is his tournament life worth top pair with a 10 kicker?
Bet by Roger.
And this is, again, what we were just talking about, Cruz risking a whole lot of chips when he doesn't need to. He could have just raised Cruz's bet and found out that way if he had a real hand or not. Instead, he's putting all of his chips in the middle, hoping that Roger folds, and Roger's going to make the call, and Cruz is going to need an ace or a 9 if he wants to knock Roger out.
Roger has the lead right now. Cruz has 2 overcards. Can Roger's hand hold up and take over this chip lead, or will Cruz be the next HPT champion? The turn is a 3 of diamonds. No help to Cruz Baca. Now it's an ace or a 9. Otherwise, Roger is our new chip leader. Here comes the river. It is a 10 of spades, not the card that Cruz needed. And just like that, the big dominating chip lead has evaporated for Cruz Baca, and it now belongs to Roger Martin. What a turn of events, Maria.
I think that was a huge overbet all in by Cruz there. And I think he's going to pay for that mistake now that Roger has a 2 million chip stack.
Blinds are continuing at 12 and 24 with a 3,000 chip ante. Cruz Baca first to act here. He's going to open to 72,000 with ace-5 offsuit. Roger peels back jack-9 of diamonds.
Given the fact that Cruz has just over 20 big blinds, I think Roger could put in a 3-bet all in here with jack-9 of diamonds and put Cruz to the test, but calling's not a horrible option.
And that is what Roger does. He makes the call. Cruz Baca hoping to get that momentum back that he started this heads-up match with. Right now it's all Roger. The flop is 3 queen, queen, rainbow.
Cruz's ace high is still good.
Roger's going to check over to Cruz.
Cruz also checks. I think he's feeling a little gun shy after that ace-9 hand.
Turn brings another queen.
Another queen. Queen of hearts.
Roger is going to continue to check. Cruz has the best hand right now with ace high. Looks like he's getting ready to bet it.
And Cruz is going to do what is called a delayed c-bet, meaning you don't continue the aggression on the flop, but on the turn instead.
Well, Cruz does bet 60. Roger quickly min raises him, and Cruz quickly makes the call. Neither one of these players has realized the min raise just isn't working at this table. It works a lot of the time, but when it's not working, it just doesn't work.
All right. Time to see
the river card is a 7 of spades. Cruz has the best hand right now, unless Roger can get him to fold.
And Roger should really just be putting Cruz all in here instead of betting. I believe Cruz has a little bit less than pot size behind, and I don't think he would call with ace high for his life, but he will call 80K.
He will call 80K, and he is going to be good with that 80K call. He is going to scoop over $500,000 in that pot, and that just might be the swing hand Cruz needs to get this momentum back at this final table.
In the game of poker, how do you become a legend or an icon or a figurehead whose name is respected by all who know it? You would have to live a life filled with stories that have become folklore. And all of the colorful characters that we only get to read about, you would call your good friend. And you would be defined as one of the best in your era. If you fulfilled all of this criteria, then your name is Doyle Brunson. Ace Play Poker is proud to present A Poker Life with Doyle Brunson.
Well, the original WSOP was 1970. The idea was just to get the players here to have side games, and the tournament was just kind of an attraction. And so we invited everybody we knew, and they came out, and we had great side games. And then when the tournament came, I think there was only 6 of us that started, and That was the year Johnny Moss won. Our first year, no, we didn't even play. We voted to see who the best player was, and we all voted Johnny Moss. And then the next year is when we started having the $10,000 buy-in. And then it started growing from there. I can still recall Benny saying, you know, we might have 100 people in this someday. Yeah, we had 8,000 or something.
Gotta love Doyle Brunson, and he is a good storyteller. More poker when we come back from Route 66 Casino in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Welcome back to the HPT here at Route 66 Casino Hotel in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The saying goes, get your kicks on Route 66. Well, I'm getting my kicks watching this final table. Let's take a look at the updated chip count.
And we've got a pretty tight race. Heads up now. Roger has 1.38 million to Cruz's 1.19 million. It's anybody's game.
What a comeback Roger Martin has made here. When we started heads up, Maria, he had only 15 big blinds. Now he's got the chip lead, trying to close the door on the championship. Blinds are moving up. They're now 15 and 30,000 with a 4,000 chip ante.
You see Roger look down at ace queen, which is a huge hand in heads up play. He's going to open from the button to 70,000.
Cruz with pocket nines goes all in. Roger makes the quick call. Maria, this could be it. As you just said, these guys are very, very close in chip counts. Roger has the slight edge, but Cruz is going into this hand with the lead.
And now it's just going to come down to that classic coin flip to see if Roger will be our new HPT champion or if Cruz can double up and get a massive chip lead on Roger.
This is pretty much the tournament. If Roger wins, it's over. If Cruz wins, he has Roger dominated. The flop is 4, queen, 6, all spades.
And that is going to put a hammer lock for Roger on this hand. He has flopped top pair with an ace kicker, and he has the ace of spades. So Cruz is going to need a 9, and the non-spade 9 at that, leaving him 1 out.
The turn is another queen, but Maria, that makes things really interesting now.
It does. It actually opens up the 9 of spades as an out for Cruz because he will boat up on the river with either 9.
A 9 and only a 9, or Roger Martin will be our newest HPT champion.
Come on, 9. Let's go, 9. Come on, 9. Come on, 9. Hit.
Matt, please see.
And the river is the deuce of clubs, meaning Roger is going to win. Cruz is going to finish in second place. This has been a crazy final table with action to match in heads-up play. And now Cruz Baca is going to finish in second place. He's standing by with our James Larson.
All right, thanks so much, guys. I'm now joined by Cruz, and you got a second place here, but I want to talk about the good things. It was an up and down final table, but at one point you were down to 48,000 in chips, and you really battled back, and the river cards were good to you for most of the night.
That's correct. The first day, I think I played 5 hands in 11 hours. I was very patient, came into the second day with 34,000 chips, and then I caught a pretty good little rush, and before I knew it, I was pretty close to chip leader on the second day. Came into the third day with 350,000, and I did go down to 48,000 at one point. And all of a sudden, I went on a rush, and I went all the way up to 2 million, and then back down, and then even, and then that last hand took me out.
He's got one of the coolest names here on the tour, Cruz Baca, going out in second place. He played great all tournament long. Maria and Fred, we'll send it back over to you.
Thank you very much, James Larson, and congratulations again to Cruz Baca, finishing second tonight. Pretty good year for Cruz so far. He took third at our season opening event with Card Player Cruises. But the man of the hour is Roger Martin. He is the last player standing, and he is our newest HPT champion, standing by with James Larson.
All right, thanks so much, guys. I'm now joined by our new HPT champion. Give it up for Roger Martin. All right, Roger. Well, first of all, congratulations. Now, you came to this final table. You were a big underdog. The chips went from one side of the table. You had them, you gave them back. But in the end, you ended up winning. Talk about your play at the final table.
Well, it was just exciting. What a fight. And Cruz done so good there, and it was just an incredible game. Just good talent, and I was just lucky to be here and do what I done.
Now you're going home, the HPT champion here from New Mexico. How does that make you feel? You won this tournament. You're the last man standing.
Oh, I'm stoked. I'll probably just hook up the motor home and drive all night now. I don't think I'll sleep, so may as well just go.
And I'm guessing we're going to see you and your lovely wife right behind you at many more HPT events down the road.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about that. If she'll let me go, I'll be there.
All right, folks, I'm going to shake your hand. It was an awesome heads-up match here. Give it up for Roger Martin, our newest HPT champion here from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Maria and Fred, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, James Larson, and congratulations again to Roger Martin. He started heads up, a huge chip dog, but he is the last player standing with the money in his hand. Maria, your thoughts on tonight's play?
It almost seemed like an improbable chip lead to overcome for Roger, but I gotta say, I think Cruz Baca might have been a little overeager to just close the door on him, because there were a few hands that I think Cruz is gonna look back now and think, I let that championship slip from my fingers.
Well, he still has a lot to be proud of, and I'm sure we'll see Cruz at a final table again very soon. Now, do you think you have what it takes to sit under the bright lights on the global stage of the HPT? Do yourself a favor. Log on to hptpoker.com, find an event near you, and come hang out with us. We tend to have a lot of fun out there. For Maria Ho and James Larson, I'm Fred Bevel. We'll see you next time on the HPT.